Yeah. Welcome back to Peak Speed Lab 164, where gravity and mass meet friction and the ramp decides the results. Okay, how about that? I made it through without hosing that one up. Okay, so yes, I said okay a lot. Next on the pedestal, next in the lab. I was going through the uh pile of cars that I've actually shown in a couple of previous videos here. Trying to figure out what I wanted the next car to be. And as I was going through, I decided on this bad boy. So this is, I'll say was, probably still is. I don't really do the candy thing much anymore, but Baby Ruth was one of my favorites back in the day. This is from the Sugar Rush Series 2. This is a Dodge concept car. This is number 4 of 4. So it looks like on the back we've got a 70 Roadrunner, Jaguar or Jaguar, depending on how you like to pronounce it. It looks like a XK8. We got a Pikes Peak Celica, and of course this Dodge concept car. So there's a little bit of info on the back, kind of a cool track picture. Um, Number 4 of 4 Dodge concept car from Mattel Wheels. It's only like, yeah, as you can see, this is about $3. I got this from, we have a really nice comic slash collectibles store near here. So I went in, I picked up some really uh, cool cars, some higher end cars, as well as just cars that I said, hey, that looks like it'll be fun. So what do you say we get to the unboxing? So for the unboxing of this baby Ruth, it looks like this package already has a little bit of of separation right here, which is fine. Makes it easier. Boom. That's the quickest I've ever gotten this done. So, okay. Woo. That weight. Oh, that's heavier. I don't know why it feels heavier out of the package than it did in the package. But why don't we take a little bit of a look all around as we like to do here in the lab. She'll be on the pedestal later. Get a nice all the way around sort of view. The Hot Wheels. This is from Malaysia. I'm trying to tell. This feels like this is a metal bottom and plastic tires. Well, that would explain the weight of this Dodge concept car from the Sugar Rush Series 2. Woo! There we go. Nothing wild but the child. Okay, so I think it's about time for the measurements now. I'm not going to walk through all the measurements here. I do that every once in a while so folks can see what the process is. Um, but it's kind of a long. I mean, well, I don't know. It's not long, but I don't want to bore everybody with just kind of like stepping through the measurements. But if people like to see it, I will be happy to do more of them. But anyway, this is where we're at. We will do the measurements, then we'll test her out on the track. So hang tight. Okay, we're back. Just finished up the measurements in the lab. We're getting ready to race or test out this Baby Ruth Dodge concept car from the Sugar Rush Series 2 line. And we're going to see. So she's going to do the usual. We've got 20 warm-up laps, and we'll also note what the highest lap time and the slowest lap time are, both of them. This is on the short form drag strip as usual, and then we'll do the 10 races or the 10 laps for the official. We'll average those, figure out what the results are, plug it in back into the database along with everything else. Again, in addition to all the measurements of the car, we measure the track geometry, the track temp, the room temp, the humidity, along with these lap times, that kind of thing. So this car came in pretty heavy. It's in Class E, so it's gonna be up there. We'll see how, and it's interesting too because it still feels like a metal base with plastic tires. So this is the first one that I've had of that as well, that combination as well. Okay. The other odd thing that I noticed in measuring is the rear tires are a little narrower than the front tires, but they're also larger, a little bit larger in diameter. So I don't know. And there's no real play in the axles. So we'll see how these results you know, roll out. Okay. First warm-up lap. You can see that she's set up about as the center as possible. Let's see how she does with the first of 20. Whoa, I think that is the fastest. That is the fastest lap thus far, if I'm not mistaken. That might even be faster than the high voltage. Ooh, this is going to be a good one. We'll be back. Okay, we just finished up the 20 warm-up laps. Wow, this Dodge concept car ran extremely consistently. As always, the very first run was the fastest. So far it's been like that with all the cars. But this lap time was super consistent between 1.72 and 1.71. Aside from that first lap time, those were the only other two lap times I went for the 20. So we've got the 10 to do the average. I'm going to project then that the average is going to be like 1.7, 1.5, or 1.715. So I don't know. This is going to be interesting, but it's faster than I was expecting, and it is, I don't know why, but it's more consistent than I was expecting. So I come back to, this is why we want to measure, this is why we track, because we have our assumptions about things, and this can go for life too. But until you actually, as we used to say back in the day, do it with data, you don't really know. So you don't know what you don't know until you know what you know, or something like that. Okay, on to the 10 laps. All right, we've got lap 1 of 10 starting here in a second, but this baby Ruth is, maybe it's the sugar rush. Maybe that's why it's so fast. I don't know, but we'll see how she does with these 10. Woo! Takes off like a bullet. 1.71. Okay, we're about to run lap 10, and here's another observation. The 20 warm-up laps were so incredibly tight lap time wise and consistent, and then here I am thinking this is going to be the same way for these 10, and you'll see these numbers ended up being I mean, there's still a pretty tight variance. It's not like much of a variance, but it is definitely more lap time results, if that makes sense. So this is why folks like to make assumptions about things as we go through whatever we do, and this is why I enjoy this testing process and doing work with data to confirm whether or not what's happening is reality or perception. So you can sit with that for a second. Okay, so here we go. Lap 10. .718. Here we go. I'm going to put that as the last one, but you'll see those variances. That was from the last run. This is from a previous car, but this is today. On to entering into the database. We're back at peak speed lab 164, where gravity and mass meet friction, and the ramp decided the results, and what a batch of results they were. First of all, again, I was surprised this car felt heavier out of its package than in the package, but this baby Ruth was perform unexpectedly. Um, Fastest lap time, and that was again, as I mentioned a minute ago, the first run always seems to be the fastest for all the cars, or is always the fastest, was 1.64 seconds. So the 10 average official test runs, or I call them test runs, but they're official runs for the 10. This is after the 20 warm-ups. I thought the average was going to be somewhere in the like 1.715, because during the 20 runs it was super close, like almost half, probably a little bit more than half were 1.72, and the rest were 1.71, aside from the very first run of 1.64. So that's why I was assuming, a 1.715. So what we got was, it still wasn't a huge variance, but the average was 1.7204. So I'm looking at these numbers, and when I was running the 20 warm-ups, I had to double check to make sure that the sensor on the gate, the Play Robotics gate, was working properly, because it was like boom 1.72, boom 1.72, and it was working properly. So it was super consistent. But then I'm looking down at my notes here. We've got results kind of all over the place. Again, not a huge variance, but just a lot of different results. It wasn't like 1.72, 1.72, 1.72, 1.71, 1.71, and so on. It was like we had 1.71, 1.72, but then we had like 1.714, 1.738, 1.721. So I don't know what happened from the 20 warm-up laps to the 10 official laps, doing everything the same, did it right afterwards. This is why I find this I don't know, this process and what I'm doing here, this project, so interesting to me, is because there are these little surprises that pop up. Yeah, and higher humidity than normal, and we had, I think, one of the slowest runs with a previous car that had relatively high humidity. uh and so we thought, well, maybe humidity is an issue. Well, if it was an issue for this car, I can't imagine how much faster this car would roll when the humidity is down, right? So anyway, we've got this all entered up into the database. Going to put put the packet together so we can get loaded up. But I appreciate you all watching and subscribing. Hopefully you're hitting that subscribe button. It's free, and you're following, that you're liking the videos. That helps as well. So I guess the next step is we've got to put her on the pedestal, do some close up slow mo, and enjoy her in all her glory. This is the Dodge concept car, baby Ruth. All right, from the Sugar Rush Series 2 release, and this is number 4 of 4. I'm gonna see now. I want to see if I can find the other 3 that go with this release, this series. All right, cheers. By the way, that's number boom, boom, 11. Okay, this one went to 11. For those of you who know, it went to 11. All right, I'm done. Enjoy the pedestal view.